Greetings. Welcome to question 139 of the Secunda Secundae. The topic for this lecture is the gift of fortitude, and I am Dr. Thibault. So we are in the home stretch for fortitude. We're in the last two questions. They're both very short, only two articles each. So the first article is fortitude a gift? This is question of, well, is it a virtue? We've been talking about fortitude as a virtue. If it's a virtue, then how is it a gift of the Holy Spirit? So it's either a gift or it's something you have to work on, right? So St. Thomas says fortitude denotes a certain firmness of mind to do difficult good deeds and to endure evil. So, this firmness, which is rooted in what fortitude is about. Now, there's a certain amount of fortitude, as we covered in the last, it was just in the last question, where we talked about how fortitude is needs habitual grace. For it to become a virtue, it needs to have the habit. It has to become a habitus, so therefore it needs habitual grace, which is grace, but in some ways it's somewhat natural because human beings have to cooperate with this natural grace for habitual grace to take effect. Now, this is grace, but there's like deeper grace, right? There's something even bigger here, movement of the Holy Spirit, because to endure things in this life and in the normal way is more typical of habitual grace, but we have the gift of fortitude, which is to endure to death, to martyrdom, to remain firm of mind, even as you are walking to the cross, even as you're carrying your cross to your death. This idea that fortitude can strengthen a person to do that. So it's to everlasting life, which is the end of all good deeds, and it releases one from all perils. So this is supernatural in that sense, because if you were only to look at this life, if you were an atheist and you're only to look at this life, then this would make no sense to be martyred. It would make no sense to endure unto death. So this is something that requires a gift of the Holy Spirit in order to do this, and it helps people along the way. As St. Thomas says, the Holy Spirit expels fears and gives confidence. So it is a gift. It's a gift to have that, to endure to the end. Now the second article is perhaps more interesting in the time of St. Thomas than it is currently. So the second question, talking about the gift of fortitude, is, well, in St. Augustine's Sermon on the Mount, he ascribes one of the virtues to each of the Beatitudes, and this has come up with all of the previous virtues that we've studied. Is, well, is this virtue really best to describe this beatitude? So the fourth beatitude and the fourth virtue that St. Augustine wrote about was, blessed are they that hunger and thirst for justice. Well, is fortitude really the best virtue to describe that beatitude? Right, this might not be a question that we're worrying and losing sleep over today, but this is one of the two articles which is raised in the Summa. So St. Thomas answers as he has answered in the past, saying, it seems as if St. Augustine, when he went through the Beatitudes, he just put the virtues, when people typically label the virtues 1 through 7, people typically label the Beatitudes, right, 1 through 8. He's just describing one right after another. Right? He's not really picking it out. It would be clear that justice might also be rather an appropriate virtue when related to blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice. Right? So St. Thomas's short answer to it is don't read too deeply into it, which might not even be any of interest to us at all. What St. Thomas points out is that it is still appropriate because he says it's not very difficult, not merely to do virtuous deeds of justice, but to do it with an insatiable desire. Now, that insatiable desire, St. Thomas is now kind of introducing into this, after we've just done all of these questions on fortitude, he's bringing it in right at the end, this insatiable desire to do justice, hunger and thirst for justice. The thing that gives you the passion, not passion isn't the right word, the insatiable desire to do this is fortitude. And fortitude is about moderating the desires, right? It's about moderating the fears. All of these virtues really are about getting our emotions on board with reason, right? Fortitude is about following what is rational, what reason dictates, and not letting the irascible appetites get in the way. So all of these, particularly temperance, too, it moderates these emotions. So it's not much more to say on that. It's a pretty short article, and it's not perhaps the most important to people today. So in short, fortitude is a gift, and the gift of fortitude is related to the fourth beatitude, but not really in a particularly special way, since fortitude can be really applied to all of the beatitudes, and so is true of all of the other virtues, because to have beatitudo really requires a cacophony of all of the virtues, not just singling out one. Okay, well, next we will get into the precepts of fortitude.